course it is. And even if it isn't, it's still attempting to do something about it, which is really important. It's the whole point of this is the three of them. I mean, we can hear Prince William say things like, you know, we used to have 60 a side and, you know, that's how I got into football in the first place. And there's a lot of people look at that and think, and probably even Harry Kane and Declan Rice are thinking, well, that's not how we started playing football. Do you know what I mean? It probably wasn't like that. But the whole thing is to have people from different walks of life to use football as a tool to be able to talk and open up about emotions. So that's the reason it's there. It's a very nice, it's a 25-minute show, it's on YouTube. And the whole thing, it's great to have them talking about their experiences of football, but the underlying reason it's there is basically to get men, mainly men, as you said, to open up about their feelings and to use football as a vessel for that. So another thing that Prince William said, and it's interesting. I mean, I don't want to sort of snigger at what he's saying, but he tries to say that, well, yes, I remember when England get knocked out and the terrible disappointment that I've faced from being built up by the excitement of England for them being knocked out. If you're a real England fan, this is something you're very, very used to because this happens very often. But I absolutely understand what he's trying to do and why he's trying to do it.
He's such an ambassador, isn't he, for mental health? And
absolutely.
We're used to him talking about all of these things. I know Harry Kane's a friend of yours, and you've sung the praises of him.
Yes, well, the Spurs links, of course.
You've converted me into becoming a big Harry Kane fan because you say he's a top bloke, not only a really positive role model. Has he, and indeed have Declan Rice, have had their own journey with mental health? Well,
the thing is that they discuss that, and Harry Kane has his own foundation, which is for mental health, and it's a terrific foundation which he founded only a couple of weeks ago. I think a thing about professional footballers, we would look at that and think, it's a charmed life. And, of course, it's loads of money. They're playing football for a living. But if you can imagine the incredible pressure, we saw it with penalties at the Euros recently. But there's an interesting conversation that makes me think of this, and this was I'm not going to name drop, but I'm going to, is Glenn Hoddle. And I spoke to Glenn on Friday, and we were talking about when he was the England manager, and we were in a conversation, and I said, well, what's the most difficult decision you've had to make? Because when he was the manager of England back for the '98 World Cup, there was a very famous story about he had to drop Paul Gascoigne and Gazza, and there was the story that Gazza was really angry and the whole country was thinking, why is Gazza not playing in the World Cup? And he said, well, it was difficult, but it was nowhere near the most difficult decision I've had to face in football. That was when there were young apprentices that are coming up through their career and they get to about 16 or 17 and that's all they know. And then they're told, I'm afraid there's no future for you. And that is when they would truly face really difficulties mentally because they've got to try and adjust to that. And lots of players have had that through their career, but have managed to overcome it. So that's another thing that gets mentioned.
It's really interesting. I mean, it's just interesting, I think, that, as you say, the key point of all of this is they're able to talk and have sort of an honest discussion.
Sure.
And people will watch that, their fans will watch that and say, well, actually, maybe I can talk too.
Absolutely. That's all it is. It's just trying to say, look, OK, we could use England as a good example, the disappointment that we've often faced, how we feel being built up and knocked down, but then it works in general life. And it's just that you can speak amongst yourselves, and actually discuss these things, and it's OK to talk because we know, and we've learned that over the last few years more than any other time, that when it comes to mental health, discussion is the most important thing.
Well, and I look forward to having that discussion actually in a bit more detail with you and Harry down the pub at some point when you...
We will absolutely sort that, but we'll have to wait until after the World Cup if that's OK.